Welcome to Pinnacle's NFL Best Bets for Week 8. I'm Anthony Bruno, joined by Scott Cullen on behalf of Pinnacle. Pinnacle has been trusted by bettors for over 25 years. Come here to get the best odds and best payouts, especially on the Week 8 NFL slate. So, Scott, let's not waste any time. What is your first best bet on the board?
My first best bet, and maybe I'm stubborn here, Anthony, and I think sometimes if I get a result that I didn't necessarily expect the week before, I might go back to that same well. And so last week I picked against the Eagles, and it did not go very well for me. But the Eagles are at Cincinnati this week, and I think the Bengals are actually quite good, especially relative to their record. They're only 3-4 on the season, but they've won 3 of their past 4 games. Their only loss, a 41-38 loss against the Ravens, and I think the difference here is going to be basically the offense. The Bengals passing game with Joe Burrow has just been humming lately. And when you compare that to the Eagles, Jalen Hurts has not been great. Now, last week was a Saquon Barkley revenge game against the Giants, and maybe Saquon will just, chew up the Bengals too. But I think if you leave this to the quarterbacks to throw the ball downfield and start putting up points, I think Burrow has a distinct advantage. Really, since they had T. Higgins come back to the lineup, that now they have Higgins and Chase on the outside. I think that the Bengals offense is one of the best in football, and as home favorites at 2.5, minus 120, I like them to at least cover that spread.
I agree with you. Which team has the better quarterback and the better offense? It is 100% the Bengals right now, only laying 2.5. So I like that bet as well, Scott. But for my best bet, I am maybe going to give out the wildest best bet I've ever given out on this show. But I'm going to do it anyway.
So bring it.
This is a lot of points. All right, I totally get it. The Denver Broncos are minus 10 at home against the Carolina Panthers. So it's a ton of points, especially for Bo Nix, who's still obviously a rookie quarterback. But the Panthers are an absolute abomination of a football team, okay? I mean, there's really no other way to sugarcoat this. They are 29th in EPA per play on offense, 31st in EPA per play on defense. And now I know the line moved a little bit when news came out that Bryce Young would be starting this game with Andy Dalton spraining his thumb in that car accident. But when you look at what Bryce Young has done this season, and even in his career, it is just a disaster. In the 2 games that he has played this season, the Panthers have been outscored by 60 points. He is dead last in EPA per play among quarterbacks this season. Dead last. When you look at quarterbacks who have a minimum of 50 plays under their belt this season. In 9 career road starts, Bryce Young is 0-9 and has lost by 10 points or more 6 times. So, obviously the Panthers are a disaster, but they are going up against a Broncos team that has an excellent defense. This defense has been absolutely locked in. 2nd in EPA per play, 3rd in success rate, 5th in pressure rate, 2nd in sacks, 3rd in points allowed per game. And it also looks like they're going to be getting Patrick Surtain back, who missed last week with a concussion. On top of that, they're on 10 days of rest since they played the Thursday night game last week. I think this is just a nightmare spot for the Carolina Panthers. I have no faith in them whatsoever to put points on the board here. You could also look at the Panthers team total under 16.5 at minus 131. But I'm going to be rolling with the Broncos. I know it kind of sounds crazy. Minus 10 at plus 102. Let's go Broncos.
Well, Anthony, when you have a game where Bo Nix is clearly the better quarterback, you've really got something. But, I mean, the Broncos could win this game 7 to minus 3, the way the Panthers are going, right? They're just, you're right. They're an abomination. And honestly, you might think that Surtain has as much chance to catch a pass from Bryce Young as any of the Panthers wide receivers. So it is a big spread, and you don't want to get kind of carried away with a favorite on that kind of spread. But my goodness, if the Carolina Panthers are as bad as we think, and they're facing a team that is as good, especially defensively, as the Broncos, they're 3rd in DVOA, along with all the other stats you were mentioning on their defense, then take this big spread and run with it.
And you know what? For the people who have been betting on Carolina every week and taking the points, like, you've just been lighting money on fire. So you know what? I'm laying the points here with the Broncos, and let's hope they come through. But Scott, let's go back to you now for your second best bet on the slate.
All right, as I said, Anthony, I'm stubborn. Although last week this one worked for me, I'm going right back to the well for Josh Allen. Bills quarterback came through pretty big last week, and this week going against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have given up more than 235 yards passing in 4 straight games. Allen, this number already started the week at 233.5. It's already moved up to 237.5. I'm still okay with it at 237.5. Because I think once you give Allen a competent receiving core, and Amari Cooper, even not knowing the plays last week, helped give him a competent receiving core, I think there's a good chance here that this game becomes a shootout. Because the Seahawks, for whatever flaws they might have, they can move the ball up and down the field too. And so I could very easily see, Geno Smith chucking to get the Seahawks in the game, but I can also see Allen matching him every bit during the Bills offense. And so I'm going to ride Josh Allen for a second straight week over 237.5 passing yards.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. You got to think at some point this Bills passing game is going to start putting up some better numbers, because Josh Allen, just looking at his, even just looking at his game logs and the passing yards that he's been putting up, like, it's been very underwhelming. And last week, he crushed the over. It was at like 205.5. He ended up with like over 320 yards. Now that he has Amari Cooper in the fold, as you said, it'll be nice to see Josh Allen and that passing attack get going here as we get into the second half of the season. All right, for my second best bet, anytime touchdown props have been very kind to me this season, especially Mike Evans. And I'm going back to another anytime touchdown bet, and it is going to be Jayden Reed to score a touchdown at plus 135 on the road as the Green Bay Packers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Packers are a big play offense. The Jags love giving up big plays, and Jayden Reed, of course, is the Packers' best big play threat. The Packers have completed 25 passes of 20-plus yards this season. That's second in the NFL, while the Jags have given up 30 pass plays of 20-plus yards, which is second worst in the NFL. The Jags have also given up an NFL-high 16 passing touchdowns this season. They rank dead last in EPA per play on defense, dead last in dropback EPA. They're also 26th in pressure rate. This is just a home run spot for Jordan Love and the Packers passing game. And sure, they have multiple weapons. You could look at other receivers. You could look at their tight ends. But Jayden Reed, he could hit a big one. We've even seen him take handoffs. I think there's different ways that he can get in the end zone here. And I think there's a very good chance he's going to hit a big play in this one. So I'm going to be backing him to score a touchdown at plus 135, which at the time of recording is the best price in market on an anytime TD for Jayden Reed.
Well, you see, I think what we found, Anthony, and certainly you have, as you keep hitting all the anytime touchdowns, is you go find the team that has kind of weaknesses in their defense. And we've done it against the Baltimore Ravens pass defense, and certainly the Jacksonville Jaguars defense has many weaknesses to exploit. And so yeah, I totally agree with you that this is a great spot for a Packers touchdown. And if you're looking for somebody to score for the Packers, Jayden Reed seems as good a bet as any.
Yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science here. I've been attacking some horrible pass defenses, and the Jaguars fit that bill perfectly here. They have been a disaster against the pass. And you know what? Maybe this game has some shootout potential as well if the Jags can get cooking a little bit, a little back and forth. So I like Jayden Reed to get in the end zone. And like I said, I mean, there's other Packers pass catchers you can look at as well. But that is going to do it for our Week 8 NFL Best Bets here at Pinnacle. Like I said off the top, Pinnacle has been trusted for over 25 years by sports bettors. Get the best odds and best payouts here because we have low margins compared to the competition. And I say this every single week, whether you're betting on main markets, player props, futures for that matter, you're always going to get the best price at Pinnacle. So when you're betting on the Week 8 NFL slate, you got to come check out our odds. Make sure that you are getting the best price. But that is going to do it. Good luck with your Week 8 NFL best bets. Of course, we will be back next week to recap and run through Week 9. But until then, enjoy the NFL football this weekend. Best of luck, and we will chat very, very soon.